Sort of break it down like this.
Gang hang. Before we just got started here, JD Got a Catch was talking about the Continental, the John Wick spinoff about a hotel, which there are aspects of it that were well done. I agree. But there was nothing about it that I said, oh, it's a good thing that this is a John Wick story, you know? Or this is set in the John Wick. There was no reason for any of that. And honestly, I found it completely boring. I found it so boring.
Yeah.
But good actors, I suppose.
I still haven't made time for it. But I'm also not that interested.
You don't need to.
Off work. Yeah, if I hadn't had a week off work, I probably wouldn't have bothered.
There's nothing essential about it, for sure. It's fine.
No.
It's fine at best. And you know what? Weakest part, and this is not just because, like, dude's a fucking asshole and the Holocaust denier and everything, but Mel Gibson, he phoned it in so hardcore. Like, that was the performance they wanted out of Mel Gibson. He's like, I'm New York tough guy, and I kind of talk with an accent until I forget to talk with my accent because I'm mad, and then I go back to my New York tough guy accent. You know, like, what are we doing? Just, he phoned it in so bad.
Yeah, when I saw he was on the show, I said no thanks. I don't need a vaguely attached prequel that I don't think really needs to exist with Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
So,
there's an appeal to it about like learning a little bit about Winston and the Continental, but who really cares? They're there.
Right.
Do we know the Continental exists?
Right.
Do we need to know about Winston?
And if this is the story, this is the interesting background you want to give me about Winston, it wasn't that interesting. It's just like, he had a boss that was a jerk. Well, okay. I've had bosses that were jerks. Yeah, I guess I can relate to Winston.
Get in line, Winston.
Yeah.
So is Winston is Lance Reddick is Winston?
Yes.
Or
no?
Okay.
Not Lance Reddick. Winston.
No, Lance Reddick is Charon.
Oh, sorry. I thought that's what we were talking about.
Ian
I
McShane.
lost. So, okay, pardon me. I got so bored with it, I don't even remember names of characters. I thought you were talking about Lance Reddick.
What's Winston's characters? Who's Winston then?
Who's Swearingen?
He's Ian McShane.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Who runs the Continental?
Al Swearingen.
And then lost it. Yeah. Then he got it back.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, look, if you want to put Mel Gibson in your show, fine. That's on you. You're going to take some heat. Go for it if that's what you want to do. But if you're going to do that, Mel Gibson better come out with a performance that is like transcendent. That people can be like, look, I don't agree with Mel Gibson. Fuck that guy. But I'll tell you what, you cannot deny he was amazing in this. And it literally looked like Mel Gibson walked in, went, give me the script. Okay, shoot this scene. And he read that part, read this part, read this part, and he's like, I'll see you guys tomorrow when we shoot again, and left. You know?
Well, and
it's pretty funny to say with Mel Gibson, you can't deny, because, he has no problem denying.
Right.
He loves denying stuff.
Yeah, that's his bread and butter is denying it.
It's true. It's true. All right,
Go
enough Mel Gibson talk. Greg Capullo is coming to take over Wolverine. What do we think? How do we feel about this? Greg Capullo.
I wonder how many issues he's actually going to stay on.
That's my question.
Schedule.
Now,
I mean, the dude drew multiple years of Batman.
It's true.
It's not that the guy can't. It's not that the guy doesn't do long arcs.
So it's not
long run.
I agree, Joe. It's not that. But one thing Marvel likes to do, and I think it comes down to payment. They come to these short agreements with big artists. And they say, we'll pay you for 6 issues and it'll get it started and get it going. And they go, great, thanks. And they do their 6 issues and they leave and go back to DC where they get paid more. Marvel is famous for not paying people that much. That's the thing.
Marvel replaces them with a Stormbreaker.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like I could see Lucas Wernick on Wolverine as an issue 7,
Maybe he can be, Greg Capullo can be one of the new old young guns.
The new old young guns?
The new old guns.
Yeah. They need an old guy gang too, right? You can't just have new guy gangs. They need
it's like Stormbreaker. I think that's why they stopped naming it the Young Guns, because like Patrick Gleason was in there. Like Patrick Gleason's been drawing comics for at least 20 years.
Yeah, but I mean,
he's not a young gun.
He hadn't been at Marvel though, so I think they just tried to sneak him in. Like, look at him. What is he? 24?
But he's not a young gun. Is my point. Is like, okay, let's change the name so that it's not directly referential to anybody's age. And so, yeah, now we get Stormbreakers and Thundercrackers or whatever the other name was that they had.
Regardless, it's all part
Also,
of. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, and Gleason has done, I think, maybe 12 comics since they announced him coming to Marvel. Like
maybe.
Which is weird. I don't know what happened.
He drew a fair chunk of this run of Amazing Spider-Man, and the last run, to be fair.
Yeah, he did do. He did a lot of the Ben Reilly stuff too.
Like he did the Spider-Man Beyond. That was mostly Patrick Gleason, and then he's drawn a bunch of this current Zeb Wells nonsense as well.
Oh man.
But that's really all. Like he hasn't done anything but Spider-Man, to my knowledge.
I sure do not care about this gang war thing. I wanted to get excited. It's not.
No,
it's not doing anything for me.
I mean, and the tie-ins. Some of them, I've only read a couple, are so over the top, egregiously terrible.
Yeah.
That it makes it affects the entire affair for me. I read that Luke Cage comic and I'm like, fuck gang war. I don't want to read any more of it at all.
Yeah.
It's astoundingly awful.
It's bad.
It's like a new level of bad.
And we've got March solicits where this is still going on. You know, like, oh my God, really? Great.
Yeah. And and it's like we're just now seeing solicits where it's like Spider-Man, the aftermath of the gang war, and it's like, oh my God, I got another 2 months of this shit.
Oh yeah.
And then I have to deal with the aftermath of it.
Is anyone?
I don't know, man.
And okay, look, and I'm not going to come at anybody, but is anybody thrilled about this? Because I'm not seeing people online saying I fucking love Zeb Wells, and Zeb Wells' Amazing Spider-Man was certainly not on anybody's best of 2013 list. I didn't see that anywhere, aside from maybe CBR's countdown, which had like that Phoenix, series on there, and or Jean Grey series in there and shit.
Oh my God,
that was Newsarama.
Oh yeah, pardon.
Yeah, where that's like Jean Grey was one of their best comics of 2023.
One of the guys that I fanboy was all about this past year of Spider-Man. It was one of his favorite Marvel books of the year.
Look, because
the other two hosts gave him shit about it.
I don't not enjoy Spider-Man, but I think the overall story arcs have not been very good Spider-Man stories. Like Dark Web. Dark Web was completely skippable. The best thing to come out of Dark Web was that now Spider-Man has a Bizarro, but he's fun, wreck rap. Like he's goofy and dumb.
Yeah.
I wonder how long it's going to take for him to ruin his secret identity.
I know.
His name is.
Right. It's like somebody's going to be like wreck rap. Wait a
minute. Dark Web, not to mention, there's a good way to do a heel turn. And it happens in wrestling all the time. And sometimes it happens on a dime. And you go, whoa, he's a bad guy now. But you built up Ben Reilly to a point where people like me who never cared about Ben Reilly were like, you know what? I like him. And then he went, oh, he's crazy and he's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Yeah, but that didn't happen all of a sudden.
And he's purple.
That was the whole plot of that last arc of Beyond, where the Beyond Corporation was messing with his memories were getting eaten away. They didn't do that all of a sudden.
I'm not saying they did it all of a sudden. I'm saying it can be executed that quickly and still done well. Or you can do a slow build-up where we go, oh, he's become... I just didn't care. I didn't care.
I mean, I will... But what I will say is that how he goes from being okay, well... he's an evil Spider-Man with some sort of weird power because of this thing that they invented or discovered. And they went from that to, magical king of the limbo dimension.
Yeah.
It's no, what?
Yeah.
Oh, how?
And his girlfriend becomes Hallows Eve or whatever. And what's her name?
Hallows Eve.
Which is just that's a terrible name. And nah. I don't know. Zeb Wells. I like Zeb Wells. Zeb Wells.
The power is worse. I think the power is worse than the name.
It's way worse. Yeah, it's terrible.
I actually kind of... There's a Silver Age goofiness to that power that I kind of appreciate, like the hero, like the H-Dial at DC, where it's she puts on a mask and she gets the powers of that mask. I'm like, okay, sure. But
at least made the masks plausibly cool versus, Like, I think she's like putting on Halloween masks that,
they're like
I remember from the 80s.
Yeah, like if she like goes and gets like the plastic
Halloween masks with the slit where the where the mouth is.
If she wears one that's like
Dean Venture keeps sticking his tongue through it,
like Boba Fett, and it says his name on the chest and everything. Does she get like rocket powers and turn into Boba Fett, or like what?
Like if she were to buy a vintage plastic Batman costume and she puts on the Batman mask, does she just suddenly become Batman?
Yeah, totally.
Game over for everybody.
Or she just gets like the kid muscle suit of He-Man and puts it on and puts a sword up in the air. Is lightning going to strike her and turn her into the master,
but it would
the most powerful man in the universe?
She would probably be more like the Adam West Batman, though. So
I would love it if she turned into He-Man, though. That would be cool.
Yeah,
I would take that.
Anyway, Halsey was dumb.
Gang War is
so
not
is
good.
Ben Riley
And
being
Gang
a
War is
magical
not good.
villain is dumb.
But
And Gang War is also not good.
How about issue 6 and 7 of Incredible Hulk?
Fantastic.
With Ghost Rider. Oh my god.
Fantastic.
I just read
I'm behind on
Incredible Hulk is it. That's one of the books that I caught up on. And oh my god, that book is so good.
Yeah,
it is so damn good.
It was 7 was really great. It's leading up to something. It's one of these books where there's too much action to fit in a regular comic book.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I need more. I need another issue right now.
Well, that's okay. PKJ, he's good at that, man. He knows timing. And the whole thing is like give him just enough so that Frank is salivating next month when he walks into the comic shop. PKJ, so good at that, man. I love Philip Kennedy Johnson.
First of all,
handle it.
Frank walks in, a big
Frank's
V stain of
problem.
drool on his shirt.
He turns around and knocks all the comics off the shelf.
Ah!
I need that Hulk.
So my local comic shop does this weird thing, right? Because there's variants of covers.
Sure.
And they immediately bag and board, or like a week after they come out, they immediately bag and board the variant covers and jack up the price to like
Frank,
$15.
Frank, honey, welcome back.
Oh, that's New York.
Yeah. Well,
Wait, what did they do? What did they do on?
This isn't new.
I don't think they do it on the day the comic comes out, but I think they do it.
Oh, they do
within.
it. We were doing
They
it.
do it the day, yeah.
15,
and I'm like
15
why
20
is this
years
variant?
ago. Yeah. So the rub behind the variant is they'll say this is a 1 in 25 variant, right? So the retailer has to order 25 copies of the regular comic book to get one copy of that. And to be fair, they're paying cover price for it. They're not paying it in their heads. They go, yeah, but I did order 25 copies. Now, if you have 25 people in your pull list that are buying it anyway, who cares? Then fine. You were going to buy those anyway, and you got a shot at the variant. And maybe if you feel good about that, you can just put it in the stack and somebody finds it and goes, rad. But every single comic shop out there basically goes, okay, a 1 in 25 variant for a not very popular book is $25, whatever. Because
I think the 1 in 10s we used to price at $9.99.
Yeah, like $10.
And so I mean I get it, and it was kind of an industry standard, and in theory, I don't really have a problem with that idea because that's the point of it, right?
Sure.
It is supposed to be a limited edition. It's a limited thing, so it's like a manufactured scarcity, whatever.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's up to you whether or not you want to, engage in that and fall for that or whatever. Like no judgment, but the companies let it get out of hand, and so it's not just some comics; it's every comic, and it's not just one variant; it's
5, 10,
4 or 5 variants of multiple tiers, of multiple levels of scarcity. So 1 in 10, 1 in 25, 1 in 50. And it's too much. It got to be too much. And that's why you see some retailers just not playing the game.
Sure.
Yeah.
But they also did, like, I will say that the publishers have gotten better about doing variant covers that are equal. They're just an even split.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Like a B. There's
so if you see a
B
comic
variant or whatever.
Right. Yeah. So if you see a comic that's got 2 covers and they're both cover price, it's because a shop either ordered 10 and got 5 of each, or they specifically ordered, 10 of one and 5 of the other because they were separate line items or whatever. But they don't have to jump through those like meet this order threshold kind of hoops.
And it gets
but it got to be too much, and I think we're gonna see the end. I think people push back against these variants.
I don't know,
I
Joe.
mean, maybe
I don't think we are, man. I think we would have. We're still look at the comic lists that come out. Like when you look at like Dynamite, when they'll be like, "Oh, the new issue of Darkwing Duck, cover A, like B, C, D, E, F, G, L, K."
Dynamite is like the typhoid Mary of the variant play.
Oh yeah,
they are a whole special.
And they're like, "Here's a variant by so and so." Variant without the title, variant in black and white, variant in black, variant in just JD. White. It's blank. Okay,
JD, go ahead.
Aren't the variant covers also a major part of Distillery's business model?
I don't know about Distillery.
I don't know.
The only thing I've really seen with Distillery is like the big oversized books.
Yeah, no. If you go to the Distillery website right now and you want to buy like Somna #1. There's like 18 covers.
How do we spell?
But are they different? Are they differently priced?
Yes, some of them are upwards of $150.
So yeah, they're manufacturing their own scarcity. But see, now that's different. Yeah. You're buying directly from Distillery,
right?
And you know what? They can do what they want. Marvel can put out a comic that's $100 if they so choose, and see if people want to buy it. And so that's one thing, and that's fine. They can do it. They can do it or not, and it'll succeed or fail. They're
selling online exclusives for Distillery, and feel free if it sells, it sells. Bands do it. I buy death metal records. They're like limited to 200, and it's on green and puke vinyl or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I need that, and it's like $5 more or $10 more. If you want it, great, go for it.
The thing about the Hulk ones that I noticed that these covers weren't like exceptionally different or exceptionally great or by an artist who it's like, wow, how did they get this artist to do that cover? That's amazing.
No.
Yeah,
it's not like
it's impossible because of the volume is because Frank, it's every book has at the minimum 2 and every month, and so there's not enough artists that are that good to do that. And and it's I mean, I totally agree with you. You look at them and it's like, you know what, the regular one's better than this like weird niche kind of Chinese animation kind of look, or like this one that's more like of a manga thing, or this one's Victorian.
This is the art germ variant. This is the steampunk variant.
I remember when Superman 1000 came out, and all the variants. And I was looking through all the variants, and they weren't charging anything different. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going for the Steve Rude cover because I like Steve Rude.
Yeah, the decades covers,
right? And then the Batman one, it was like that sort of Jerry Robinson-esque cover. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure who did it, and then there was another one. Was it? It was on Marvel's like Amazing Fantasy 1000. It was like who the heck was it? It was what's his name? I can't remember his name.
Alex Ross.
Somebody awesome. What? It was somebody awesome.
He did not Nexus. That was Steve Rude. He did
I love Steve Rude.
Remember Fantastic Four, when the Fantastic Four were all different characters.
Arthur Adams.
No. Mike Allred. Mike Allred.
Oh, Mike Allred. Okay.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, I opted for the Mike Allred cover. I love Mike Allred.
Yeah.
He did FF.
Yeah,
it was
FF that found out
Medusa and Thing Girl.
It was great.
Ant-Man.
It was great. I loved it.
Yeah, right.
Bad news, variant collectors. The Marvel Disney variants are not selling very well on eBay. So,
oh my God, those are so bad.
They're so terrible. They're so bad.
I mean,
they're gonna do Dynamite Steamboat Willie.
Yeah.
Vampirella covers. Oh God, I hadn't even thought about that.
And and it's like I saw, I thought it was some sort of fever dream, but I saw like DC actually did manufacture and release a variant cover to I think World's Finest that had Paul McCartney on the cover.
What?
And I was like, but why? What are we doing?
It's William Shatner,
Oh Jesus!
right?
And
Remember
Doesn't make it any
announced
better.
I don't
I don't
understand.
remember. Yeah,
I'm sorry, I don't understand. There's a variant
Yeah, no,
cover
I don't-
with both William Shatner and Paul McCartney on it, or
No. There's a variant cover with Paul McCartney, Superman, Batman, Robin. They're like having a dance party in the
sounds
Batcave or
familiar.
whatever.
what?
Yeah, this was like last year or sometime. And it was like it was a
66
mystery.
or-
Like who's this blacked out
McCartney.
character? Yeah, and Dan Mora drew it, and it's Paul
got
McCartney.
Got it.
Oh, yeah.
here. Mystery singer on Batman, Superman. Here, I'll drop the link.
But was
in
it
here.
like Paul McCartney's birthday or like the 60th anniversary of the Beatles or something? I have no
There
idea.
you go. DC released
I don't know.
December solicitations. One of the variant covers had a mystery singer redacted. On the cover, Dan Mora, we see Superman with his arm around a person, has a microphone, yada, yada, yada. They now
my
revealed
gosh.
it's Paul McCartney. No reason, nothing about it. I think it was, okay, this is a Christmas cover, so we can only assume he showed
That
up.
is something totally different that I have not seen.
He
Brian.
showed up to sing his version of Simply Having a Wonderful Christmas Time with Superman, I think. There you go.
Oh, boy, wow.
There you go.
Oh.
There it is.
So this William
What in
Shatner
the-
cover is also by Dan Mora. I
Okay,
can
Mosaic
see.
fan art brings up Amy Grant being the cover of Doctor Strange. Now,
Oh,
to be
that's so
fair,
weird.
Now that was they used
they lifted Amy
they
Grant's
stole the
image.
cover, and they like put that bloody red filter over it and
Yeah.
made it look like a horror cover, and she sued.
big time because she
So
was like,
yeah,
Doctor
this was
Strange
not that was
is
not like a
satanic."
celebrity tie-in. That was like the artist was like yoink, and then she got really mad and sued them. And yeah, I think they had to settle.
Yeah.
Like because it was blatant, like blatant image theft.
It was they recalled
and-
it. They tried to pull him off the stands and stuff. Here's it from
Yeah, it was bad. And but yeah, so I've always hated variants. I understand like why people like them. I understand the drive for people to collect things that they feel are scarce. Like that's a valid form of collecting. I just don't. It's not for me.
No, I mean,
I think the companies exploit it.
if you love an
and,
artist and you're like, I want all the Arthur Adams variants that come out, good for you. Yeah, maybe. When are you going to get to see Arthur Adams draw some of these characters? Maybe you never will outside of a variant, and that's your jam. Whatever, go for
We're
it.
outside of Instagram.
Yeah,
Sure. And but these people and Matt and I have known many. They're out there. They're still out there even today.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
they want the variant. They want to know what the variant's for. A few days ago, I posted a link to a news story from, or maybe it wasn't. Yeah. Somebody, I posted a link. Somebody here in Omaha had their storage unit broken into, and he estimated $15,000 worth of comic books were stolen. And I clicked on the news story, and it was a guy that Matt and I are intimately familiar with. And like, I'm not.
no, I'm not going to say intimately. I never made out with the dude or anything.
Well, right, but I mean, we sold him comics.
We sold him plenty of comics.
We sold him comics
We sold
for
him plenty
years,
of comics.
and he has always been all about what a book is worth and how rare it is.
Oh, yeah.
And this interview with him was just scene after scene of him holding up examples from his collection that were left in the storage unit, going, "That's a $75 book. That's a $50 book. That's a $100 book."
And you could
It's like,
you could safely, after he said it, you go, no, it's not. No, it's not.
yeah, right. to you, to him, it is.
Yeah.
And it's just like
This is also the second
That kind
time
of-
that storage facility has been broken into. Like, dude,
yeah,
maybe it's time to move to a different one, you know?
Right?
time to move your shit.
But a good way to
Well,
commit
it's just
insurance
like-
fraud is to go on the news and say, that's a $75 book. That's a $200 book. That's a $5,000. Yeah, okay.
Come on, man.
Good luck to you, friend.
Yeah, and it's like how did you know what was stolen, and how do you know what it was worth? Do you know what boxes were stolen? Did you have them cataloged and numbered? And
Actually, that guy
like-
probably did. I'll bet that nerd.
he
did.
may have.
I
He
bet
may
did.
have. Yeah, because everything is bagged and boarded. And look, I was not that dude's biggest fan, and no, none of us were. But he didn't deserve that, and that is a valid form of collecting, and he liked doing it, and he did it in a way that, like, it's not like he was depriving his family of food or whatever to buy that $100 book or whatever.
As far as we know.
But it's just like, as far as we know, yeah. But it's just like, I don't get it, and I don't like it, and I wish it wasn't a thing.
That's why we don't host a show about collecting comics. We host a show about, are they good, you know?
Right. So next time we do the Cosmic Long Box, don't ask me to tell people how much a comic's worth, because I don't give a shit.
Well, I'm going to continue to do it because I think it's good information. And it's fun, because like it shows, like it does show this is an important key issue or whatever, you know, things like that. I think there is some, and we're not talking about variants. We're talking about, you know, Silver Age stuff or Golden Age stuff or even hot stuff from the 80s or 90s or whatever.
I think 3 out of the 4 books that I picked were still cover price. So.
But that also makes it fun. This isn't worth shit. You can go out and find this one pretty easy. Santa's in it. You know? I love that stuff. Back to where
this book called Quested. And there were like 4 different variants on it. And I was like, are these like 4 different issues? But it was just one issue. It was pretty good. It was kind of funny.
Quested, was that a scout book?
Hold on, let me see.
I can look it up too. Let's look. Quested.
Oh, you gotta look. But the it's like it's done. It's very funny and done in sort of a animated style, cartoony style. One of the things I liked about it was that it's sort of funny and makes fun of the whole collecting thing. Is that it?
Whatnot Comics. I don't even know what this is. Huh.
Yeah, that's it.
I recognize the artist, so Calero. It definitely make it.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun book. It's a really fun book. I also picked up that what happens beneath the trees or
Beneath the trees where nobody sees.
Beneath the trees where nobody sees.
Man, it's great.
I'm caught up 2 issues now. I bought 2 issues.
That's a great book.
First and second, and whoo, boy, it's good.
It is a good book.
It's so it really is. It's like it gives you that like, you know, Richard Scarry vibe, and then you like, what the fuck is happening here?
Oh yeah,
yeah. It was. I mean, I kind of knew what was happening in the first issue because of like what you guys were talking about, but then you get to the last page and the thing with the float, and I'm like, holy crap! That is chilling.
Yeah. It's like a Silence of the Lambs reveal. That's great.
Yeah,
it was really good.
So good. And then
it's very Hannibal, the TV show.
Yeah.
You know, where like there are the elaborate posings of the
for sure
of the bodies.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's like,
but the second issue, I don't know if you guys read the second issue, but the second issue was just as suspenseful.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
I love this book.
Yeah.
It's excellent.
It's such a good book, and I got to keep an eye out for it because I don't know when it's going to come out. I mean, there might be a thing I could try, like, you know, looking on the internet.
You could do that.
Well, you know, I know it's kind of like a new fad, Frank, but I think it's worth a shot. The whole internet thing.
We even post a list of comics that come out every week. We're like right there in the Discord. So
that's never going to take.
It's never. Yeah. It's.
Oh yeah. I was saying
they're going to get bored of it, just like they got bored of reading real books.
Sure.
I literally went in to see if they had the Hulk and walked out with 4 comic books.
That's awesome.
And I'm like,
wow.
I'm like,
cool.
Welcome back, sucker.
Nerd.
Welcome back, sucker.
Well, Frank, that's awesome. And make sure you start pre-ordering Hulk so they don't cancel it early.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yes.
Tell your store now and they'll love having an extra pull book, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Seeing sales go up for them is a good thing. So
absolutely.
And they might give you a discount.
There are a few things that I'm interested in. That are coming out. I'm more interested in the independent stuff nowadays. I'm not really interested in like what's going on with DC or Marvel. I mean, the Hulk is a little is different because it's like it is
pretty siloed.
Really,
the Hulk is pretty siloed right now. Like
it stands alone. Yeah,
Hulk's not dealing.
You don't want to get in on all that sweet rec rap action in Spider-Man.
Or like
I don't know.
We were talking it up a minute ago.
Like Hulk's had enough of Orcus. Hulk is coming for Nimrod. You know, like
yeah, you know, like I'm steering clear of X-Men. I mean, I love Spider-Man, but it just gets so much. And all the things connected to it, and like I've loved the Hulk since I was a kid, and like the fact that I'm reading the Hulk again, it's become interesting again. to me, this is the first time they've ever done anything like this with the Hulk. You know, and it's like this is new ground for the character.
Yeah.
Did you read the Immortal Hulk, Frank?
I did, and
okay.
that was also phenomenal. I was
excellent,
blown away by it.
Also very siloed. Like they've been keeping the Hulk in the Hulk's world, doing Hulk stuff, and I'm fine with that.
Right?
Because I agree. Amazing Spider-Man. I think one of the things that Zeb Wells has done that I'm not crazy about is he's sort of tried to embrace a lot of tertiary stuff around the character, and in doing so, it's like I kind of came here to read Peter, and I kind of love Peter, and I kind of don't even recognize this Peter right now. Like he was such a jerk for so long and stuff, and there was just too much other shit going on. The X-Men, I think, is another good example. We loved where it started. Hickman, great idea, super fun, and now things are, especially this week, like we're setting up this Fall of X and Rise of the House of X, and it really seems like they're petering out on their idea a bit. You may be in luck. If you want to check the X-Men out, guess what? July, they're going to relaunch it. Tom Brevoort, who ran the Avengers office, is in charge. So it's going to be super old school.
Yeah, maybe.
Greg Capullo is going to be on Wolverine.
I mean, listen, I tell you what.
Any creative teams yet?
I love when the X-Men was one book.
It's not going to be
titles,
one book.
No official titles and no creative teams have been announced.
Now, in that, Greg Capullo,
this Wolverine news was an accidental slip, and it might be,
they did name Gail Simone in that story too, though.
She's writing a story in the Free Comic Book Day issue.
Right.
That's all we know.
Well,
that's all we know.
I mean, look,
and then we know Greg Capullo. Greg Capullo's doing something, and so he posted a picture on Instagram that was like a cropped. He posted a cropped version of the first page of something that he's working on, and he said, "This is all I can share until they announce the book."
First, he posted a picture of it with Wolverine written in the corner. Then he took it down.
Like somehow there was like an uncropped version.
Yeah, he posted that first, and then he took it down and put the crop.
He accidentally he must have not realized what he was doing.
Yeah,
and somebody found it, and it did say Wolverine on the top.
Yeah.
It said Wolverine #1, page 1, and. But it also looked like it was kind of erased. But I mean, who's to say? Yeah. But it looks like it's going to be Wolverine.
So I mean, like I think they leaked it on purpose, quite honestly. But Capullo can't be that dumb. He can't be that, because the first person that commented like, "Dude, are you taking over Wolverine?" And then he just has to go delete post. Like what you can't say.
But
no,
he's older than we are, right? And
yeah,
so,
right. I mean,
there's Instagram with half glasses.
That is fair.
There's dumb, and then there's like old man trying to master social media.
Somebody could be like, "Dad, everybody knows you're writing Wolverine now. Take that down."
Yeah. I want to switch gears a little bit, and I want to.
It's Rebel Moon time, right? Let's get into it. Rebel Moon.
We're not talking about Rebel Moon.
Oh shit! I'm sorry.
So, real quick, Mosaic fan art in the chat says, "Have you all seen that DC now believes that they own Machine Man?"
No,
because they own the rights to 2001 through Warner Brothers, and Kirby introduced Machine Man in the pages of 2001: A Space Odyssey, published through Marvel.
That is true.
I kind of doubt it. I kind of doubt that that's something that's going to stick. I also don't know why DC would make a big stink about that, because it's Machine Man.
It's also Bleeding Cool
whatever.
reporting it, so it's hard to know how hardcore it is. But according to Bleeding Cool, DC Comics realized that Warner Brothers own lots of intellectual property that they could turn into comic books, even though they didn't do a lot of it. But we got Mad Max, Hanna-Barbera, Lost Boys, Django Unchained comic books out of it. Just no Dirty Harry Goonies or Mortal Kombat. They discovered that they owned Marvel's Machine Man character, all because he began as X-51, a character in the Jack Kirby adaptation and continuation of the Stanley Kubrick movie 2001: A Space Odyssey, which, like, on record, Jack Kirby was like, they came and they're like, "We want the comic book adaptation of 2001: A Space Odyssey," and he was like, "Great, what's it about?" And they're like, "It's about like man and machine," and he was like, "Don't tell me anymore." Got it. Drew a Jack Kirby comic book.
And it's a little bit like it's a little bit like everybody making a bunch of hubbub about Mickey Mouse entering the public domain. That's not exactly the case. Steamboat Willie is in the public domain, and Steamboat Willie is as similar to Mickey Mouse as X-51 is to Machine Man, which is to say, not very. And yeah, so like maybe if they want to make a case that they own, like we own the name X-51 about a character that's a robot that pretends to be a man, it's like, okay, go nuts.
Yeah.
Have a great time. But I want to talk about Doctor Who because I watched all the specials and the Christmas special, and we're firmly in new Doctor territory. And let me tell you, he's a sexy dancer boy.
He's a good looking boy. He's real good looking.
He's in the club with his mesh shirt on.
I didn't quite understand like when they bi-generate or whatever, right? And he shows up like he's got a shirt on.
Yeah, so spoilers.
He has a shirt on, no
Who,
pants.
They're having their cake and they're eating it too. Like Donna and the David Tennant and Donna Noble got to have the happy ending while still introducing the new Doctor. He bi-generated.
But why does he show up with no pants on? He's got a shirt and underwear, shoes.
Well, did you notice?
No pants.
Okay, so I'll talk about that for a second because I watched it twice already.
Okay.
So if you notice when he splits, he's literally wearing half of the clothes that David Tennant was wearing.
Okay.
David Tennant has on a shirt with an undershirt. No collar,
fair.
Right? It's a button up. He's wearing the shirt and the tie and the underwear, so you can probably assume that David Tennant doesn't have any underwear or socks on.
Pervert,
but pants?
Yeah.
Pants, yes.
Yeah,
pants
nothing under them pants.
Right, but I thought the solution to that problem by keeping David Tennant and keeping Ncuti. I can't.
Ncuti Gatwa.
His name is pronounced Gatwa. Was the whole bi-generation thing. I thought it was a great idea. This is the second time they've done that to David Tennant, by the way. The first time he regenerated from his hand that was cut off.
Right.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And he stayed in another universe with another universe's Rose.
Right.
And then this time, when he just sort of, fabricates himself, and I think it's great. What I'm reading is they're probably never going to revisit that Doctor, or maybe they will. Because they talk about Tom Baker as the curator in the 50th anniversary Doctor Who special, and how he sort of set the tone for what just happened here. Yeah. And he said, may come back again, choose a different face, familiar face.
Sure.
Great.
Yeah.
So, I think there's that there's some precedent here that we may see him again in some form or fashion. I thought
they're not closing the door on the idea.
Right. I thought the episode.
No plans, but no plans not to either.
Now I'm going to address the Christmas special. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say it's just too popular at this stage. He's been brought back a few different times, so why not? It leaves the door even open if you ever want to revisit.
Yeah,
I think so too. But I want to talk about the Christmas special for a second, and I just want to say this: everybody who's slagging on the Christmas special, saying, "Oh, it was goofy, it was silly," just keep in mind every Christmas special is goofy and silly.
Yep. Yeah,
it's supposed to be goofy and silly. It's a children's show. It's supposed to be fun for children. So,
and I thought the musical numbers were great.
It was great. Oh, I loved it. No, I absolutely,
cute as hell.
I 100% enjoyed that entire Christmas special. Thought it was fantastic. Should have been a little bit longer.
I'll give you that. I will say this Christmas special just kind of felt like an episode to me. It wasn't. It wasn't very long, and it wasn't as like sort of big in production as some of the other ones. I liked it.
I mean, aren't they all just an hour?
No,
like all the Christmas.
Some of them are.
No, usually they're like an hour and a half.
Yeah, they're usually like a movie. Sometimes, almost. Yeah,
fair enough. It's usually movie level. I'm guessing that they're going to tell us who the woman is that dropped Ruby off at the church.
Yeah, they have.
And I'm wondering. So I'm wondering, and then of course we're left to wonder who the old lady is at the end of the episode. Who goes, what? Never seen a TARDIS before?
You know, my first thought was that was Ruby. As an old lady, you know, just like making sure everything went according to plan. But
I think that's what I thought
I don't know.
too.
What's funny was I actually thought that the woman dropping the baby off was Ruby. Okay. Now, if you go, you know, there might be some precedent for that. There's a story by Robert Heinlein called "The Tale of the Unwed Mother," and it's a short time travel story in which a person is born male, becomes female, goes back in time, meets themselves, impregnates themselves.
Oh, Robert Heinlein.
And so it's a bizarre. It is a very
so she's her own mommy and daddy,
right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh boy,
it's a very well structured time travel story.
I'd like to see the therapy.
This is a short Robert Heinlein story because I didn't think he was capable of writing anything under 1,500 pages. So
it's in one of his short storybooks.
Shortish.
It's short. It's fairly short. It's probably under like 50 pages. I mean, I remember reading it. It's actually held up as one of the like greatest time travel stories told because of the way he tells it.
So you think that Ruby could be old woman dropping herself off to the doctor's house? Okay, I don't have a problem with that.
I don't know how I feel about that.
That's timey-wimey enough.
I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know.
I'm fine with it. What do we think of the new doctor? Let's just talk about the new doctor for a minute. What do we think about
He's great.
He's great. Yeah.
I think he's great.
I think he's fun.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen him in anything else, watch Sex Education. That show, Gillian Anderson's in it. And now here's the weird thing about Gillian Anderson. I'm pretty sure she's American.
She is.
But her British accent is not only amazing, but when I've seen her interviewed recently, she must live in Great Britain. She speaks with an accent.
Yeah. I thought the same thing, Frank. I'm like, she's American.
I mean, Madonna did that for a minute too. So you know.
No, it's not that. Gillian Anderson was raised in England.
Oh,
she was.
Right.
And so she probably naturally developed an accent and slips in and out of it, like Southern people going home,
like when Phil Collins sings,
and slipping back into a drawl.
If you just talk to Phil Collins, he sounds like a bridge troll. But then when he starts singing, it's like, oh yeah, he's just like you or me, No, I like this new doctor. I think he's super charming.
Yeah.
And I like that, everybody comes in and puts their little stamp on the doctor and they do certain things. I hope they continue to have this doctor sing and dance, quite honestly. I hope it happens a lot. That's how he deals with certain things, I
loved it. I loved it. I think he's a great actor. I think that he's such a great character. I did see somebody, I don't know if you follow Joe, if you follow Straw Hat Goofy on TikTok. He's an entertainment reviewer.
I don't know what any of those words you just said mean.
Okay. He's an entertainment reviewer. Okay. He reviews movies and TV. Anyway, so he talks about whether or not this doctor is aware of of his situation with being a black man, and he's like, well, he has to be because they had an episode where I don't know where they went back to like America's 50s, and her companion was being like very badly abused by local people, and
right.
It's a really interesting thing that he asks, and his conclusion is no. Now he's a black man himself, so he's like he really wants them to address it, and he really wants them to bring some kind of attention to it.
So you're saying it
is
because this doctor is black. Sure. I kind of hope they do address it, but I kind of hope it's addressed in the way where this doctor is like, well, I don't even think about something like that. Like, I am so busy and involved in my mission. Like, I don't even have time for your bullshit race ideas, let alone, the doctor was just a woman too, not too long ago. And they didn't run around being like, women aren't paid as much. And so she was like, no, she was on a fucking mission, I I kind of hope.
Yeah, but I mean, it would
Oh
show
boy, Joe,
kind of
Joe, you're drunk. You're
am
doing.
I drunk again?
You're doing the
Very
thing.
much so.
You're doing the thing. But I do like this new doc. When does the new show start? Is it February?
No, I think it's like spring.
Oh,
like
really?
May.
So it's a ways off.
Same time Discovery comes out.
Yeah, so it's about time Star Trek comes back too. So
Yeah.
fair enough. No, I was into it. I
It's
was
funny that
excited.
Joe slipped into a little bit of Jackie Gleason from what do you call it? Smokey and the Bandit, some bitch.
All right, how about now?
Still
No,
drunk.
Feel bad.
no.
You,
While
check your,
Joe
Got to sober up,
logs
brother.
back
I
in,
think it's just time to sober up.
while Joe logs back in, I was going to bring up speaking of movies and IP and kind of race stuff. Did anyone see my post about Excellence and the new movie coming out with Justice Smith?
No, what is this?
Okay, so there's a movie called The Society of Magical Negroes, I think it's called.
Oh yeah. Yes,
And,
yes.
Yeah, so I saw that trailer and I was like, that premise sounds really, really familiar. And I went to my bookshelf and I pulled out
Excellence.
Kari Andrews'
Yeah,
Excellence. It's the same plot.
That book was-
it's the same premise.
but Kari Andrews doesn't have anything to do with this, does he? The movie.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. And it's so like lifted and shifted and Disneyfied that it's blaringly obvious to anyone who's read Excellence that someone read Excellence and went, okay, all this neo future Wakanda meets Sorcerer Supreme tech won't work. Let's make it more Harry Potter.
That sucks.
I have returned.
You're better. You're much better.
Yeah, much
Hello.
better.
I had to shut
You're
down
sober.
and reopen Discord.
Just had a cup of coffee, sobered up a little bit, quick cold shower.
So not to step on JD, but what I was gonna say is that I think it would be exercising kind of an arrogant level of privilege to ignore the fact that a being normally known for being Caucasian is now black. They have to do something. They have to at least touch on it.
I think, I agree.
And they can't just gloss over it like the doctor doesn't care about race. He doesn't see color. It's like that's fine for the doctor, but that's not how the world works.
No, I think other people could
And-
touch
and-
on it, and the doctor could just be baffled by it. Like,
I think it's fine if the doctor is like confused or annoyed by it, but the doctor is also an immortal Time Lord. He's been to America. He's been to Earth in the 60s. He knows what racism is.
and I'm sure he's been to other planets where there's
right.
similar issues,
Yes, and so I think, but I don't think he's ever experienced it, is the thing.
Fair.
And I think that it would be interesting if suddenly the doctor is like put out by the fact that he's being treated differently because he's a black man. But yeah, they can't just ignore it. I think that they have to at least touch on it in some way.
agreed.
Fair enough.
But I do agree with you, Matt, that the doctor is like,
yeah, I mean, shouldn't
he's
you?
not a person that's bothered by race,
No,
creed,
he shouldn't give a
religion,
shit.
color, species. I mean, he doesn't. That's not his job. That's not his role.
Fair.
But
I mean, Doctor Who is a show that invented the phrase xenosexual
Heyo.
for
it was-
John Barrowman's character.
Jack Harkness, Captain.
There
Jack.
was an interesting comment about spending a long hot summer with Houdini when he got out of the ropes.
Yeah.
Oh right,
And
yeah.
and that's a callback to Jodie Whittaker saying spent a sweaty weekend with Houdini. So I'm like,
Oh.
that's interesting.
Huh.
yeah.
Ah,
Went back for more.
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, hey,
I have hopes that this will be a better written show. I have hopes that it's going to be more successful.
Davies is
you know,
back,
listen,
so, I mean,
we've discussed the Jodie Whittaker stuff. We discussed the Peter Capaldi stuff.
Yeah.
and unfortunately, those two runs suffered from different things. Capaldi got better. I think Jodie Whittaker's could have gotten better as well, but I think they ended it too soon.
Yeah, I agree. They pulled the plug on her too soon. But
what do we think of the new TARDIS?
They also didn't start.
Oh, I love the new TARDIS. I think that this first episode, this Christmas special, was already really well done. Like, I loved the goblin pirate ship flying above the sky, like the baby eating goblins. That whole thing was great.
Yeah.
And, I liked everything about it. And the one thing that bugs me the most, like, I don't care about Ncuti Gatwa being black. I don't care about how he's gone from a man to a woman to a man. I don't care about the redesign of the TARDIS. I don't love the way the sonic screwdriver looks.
Yeah, I think everyone's.
I kind of miss the magic wand looking thing.
Yeah, I actually collect sonic screwdrivers. I've got a replica of every one from Chris Eccleston to current, and at first I was kind of like, when I saw Ncuti Gatwa did a thing on TikTok showing it off, and I was like, do I like it or do I not like it? I can't tell. It looks like a TV remote.
Yeah, it looks like a TV remote.
It
looks like a cheap tricorder is what it looks like.
I think they're going there. I think what they're doing is they're mimicking and this may come into it. There's maybe some social aspect to this, saying, like how much we rely too heavily on our cell phone, our smartphones, because it's got a vaguely smartphone sort of not profile but shape to it, where it's flat and wide, rather than it being like a magic wand. And I don't like it either. And I also collect all the Doctor Who, and I have like Tom Baker's, I have John Pertwee.
I don't have any of the early ones.
I got all of them except for the most recent ones, because they're so prohibitively expensive. Like, you can't find the Jodie Whittaker one, which I think it's great, but you can't find it, and you can't find. You do? I couldn't find it anywhere. It's $35, $40, $50.
That's prohibitively expensive.
I got it as a Christmas gift.
I thought you were a fan, Frank.
Yeah.
I thought
$35 is
you don't want it bad enough.
I'm not. I know you got kids, bro, but $35 is prohibitively expensive.
My favorite one is.
Look, Frank, I get it, man. You got things to pay for. You can't just be buying $50 sonic screwdrivers.
No, I can't.
I understand.
My wife will kill me.
I dropped $35 on
my
some
favorite one is Capaldi's. I think the Capaldi's screwdriver is the best one.
Kids.
It's true. I don't have kids.
You mean the sunglasses?
The Sonic sunglasses. Yeah, that was a fun bit.
No, the blue one that he got after that.
Yeah. Oh no, I remember. I'm joking around.
With the green flashy bars.
Yeah. I like the one that David Tennant just recently had, and I haven't seen that one yet. I have the one from the Wand Company sonic screwdriver that is a remote control for the television, which is great. Yeah. And again, got it before I had kids, so Did
they make a replica version of the sonic screwdriver that the crazy guy that thought he was the Doctor had, but that was just a literal screwdriver? Repackaged like a Black & Decker screwdriver and sell it as a Doctor Who collectible.
I think the only one I don't have is the War Doctor from this current era.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to bring up the War Doctor.
Boy, Doctor Who lore is confusing. Wowie zowie. Man.
Yeah, Dr. 8.5.
Dr. 8.5, yeah.
And what's even more confusing is that Fox Doctor Who. Okay. So.
Oh, Eighth Doctor.
Yeah, right. Eighth Doctor, who claims to be half human.
Yeah. Right.
Which
Paul McGann.
Right. And I thought he was great, and I was actually looking forward to a series with him, but they never did it.
Yeah.
Frank. We talked about this not long ago, but I'm not wrong, right? They did tease that they were going to do a Paul McGann spin-off show.
Yes, I heard about that as well, and I'm waiting for
about his version of the Doctor.
Yeah. he's done a few novels.
He did a lot of the audio stuff.
Yeah.
With the Big Show or whatever the name of that company is.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Big Show from WWE.
The Big Show. Yeah, that's exactly.
Well, it's the Big Show.
like
the Big Bad Show.
No, I can't remember what it's called, but there's a specific company that does all of the Doctor Who audio dramas.
Sure.
Well, in my heart, Paul McGann is doing audio dramas with the Big Show about Doctor Who,
and Eric Roberts, Eric Roberts as the master.
I would pay a reasonable amount. I would pay $35 twice for those. Okay.
If the Big Show is the voice of the Paul McGann dolls.
Love it. Yes.
Exterminate.
Absolutely yes.
All right, guys. Hey, I have to be the one to do it this time.
Yeah, I got to bail too, kids. Sorry.
A son-in-law's work is never done, so I am out for the day. Hey, I missed you guys. We had a huge turnout today. Thank you so much, all of you,
good
for being
gang
here. And Happy New Year. Sorry to everybody who doesn't give a shit about Doctor Who or whatever else we were talking about for the entire show. But we will hopefully talk to you next week.
And don't be afraid to, if you want to bring something up, drop it in the chat. Be like, hey, can we talk about this? And we'll be like, oh, shit, yeah. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, Todd brought up that thing about Machine Man, and I saw it, and I was like, yeah, let's shoehorn that.
Totally.
Let's get that into
Throw
the
that
conversation.
stuff in the chat, and we will talk about it.
All right, guys. Have a great week. New reviews are back next week, and we'll see you then.
Yep. Follow the House of X. Get ready. It's all coming down.
So.
Yeah, boy. it's about to close with a resounding fart noise.
Yeah. All right, dudes. Talk soon.
Bye.